All right. So today I got an all-time favorite game of mine. Today we're going to be reviewing Red Faction. This game came out in the early 2000s, back when I was a teenager, and boy, let me tell you, this thing has some nostalgia when you fire this bad boy up today. So I'm going to let you guys have a little bit of nostalgia feel. I'm going to let you listen to this menu music just to get you going. So that brings a lot of memories back, I bet, for a lot of people. That menu music is just something else, let me tell you, when you fire it up. But after hearing that, let's get into talking about why I think this game is probably one of the best games still after 20-something years to come out. And we'll get into all the reasons why I think it's really awesome to play today. So to start this off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys watch this opening cinematic, and you'll kind of get the idea of where this game's direction is going to take place.
Mars. I always thought of it as a romantic place, a planet of mystery and adventure. Came here 6 months ago thinking it would be an escape from Earth. I wanted some time to think, to figure out what to do with my life. A year in the Altor mine sounded like a great way to straighten myself out. Man, was I a fool. Life in the mines is hell. I haven't had a minute to myself since I got here. You're jammed 8 to a room, time-sharing your bunks. Conditions are barely livable, and the guards are everywhere. Altor doesn't care if we live or die. We're at the breaking point. And then there's the plague killing off miners left and right. When the guy next to you dies before your eyes and your turn could come any minute, it freaks you out. No one knows what causes it or how to cure it. Or at least the miners don't know. Someone named Eos is putting up pamphlets in the barracks, claiming that Ultor is responsible for the plague. The pamphlets urge miners to be ready to revolt against Ultor. A lot of miners are muttering, but nothing's come of it yet. As bad as things are in the barracks, they're brutal down in the mines. You spend 10 hours drenched in your own sweat in the Enviro suit, grinding away at rock walls. The guards make sure you work the whole shift. They enjoy their work way too much. You get out of the driller after your shift's over and all you've done is dig yourself in a little deeper. Don't know how long I can keep doing this.
Alright, so after watching that cinematic, you kind of get the idea of what direction this game is going for. You're kind of playing as, an individual miner. His name is Parker, under this corporation that you come to find out is Ultor. And the story is just all around really good. Like, for being an early 2000s game, the story's pretty fleshed out. There's a lot of really good moments in it and a lot of little details in the game. And I'm not going to spoil the story right now. We're kind of going to talk about each little interactable part of the game and what makes the game so great, and then we'll kind of wrap it up with what the story covers and how it ends. Alright, with that being said, I think the first place to start to kind of showcase this game is we're going to kind of go over the NPC behaviors of the good bots and the enemy bots, and kind of the quirky but really good dialogue lines that the NPCs have that adds the feel to the game. And you'll kind of get to see, really how this game makes you feel like you're the miner. So I'm going to kind of showcase a little bit here of what that feels like.
Second work shift has ended. Miners return to barracks.
Come on, Parker. Shift's over. Hey, where do you think you're going?
Leave me alone, jerk. It's been a long day.
It's about to get a little longer, mine scum.
Just let me go, or else.
You threatening me? Yeah, well, threaten this! You're dead, traitor!
Disturbance in Mine Sector M4. Code Yellow alert. Additional security required in Mine Sector M4.
Attack! Attack!
Miners! This is Eos, leader of the Red Faction. Our time has come. Workers in Mine M4 have started the rebellion. They're fighting and dying for you as I speak. Find the Red Faction members among you. Join us and strike back at Ultor. Together,
All miners are ordered to ignore unauthorized announcements and return to their barracks immediately.
Help! Help! Thanks. Hey, come with me.
They're gonna get off Mars and back to Earth. You help me reach the shuttle and I'll make sure they take you along.
So after that little bit there, you kind of get to see and feel really kind of what it's like to be the miner that's escaping between all the kind of the chaos and the dialogue that the NPCs give. It really kind of sets the tone for you guys basically escaping for your lives. I mean, you kind of see how the Ultor Corporation, the security guards treat the miners as basically,
Code red
crap,
alert
really.
in Mine M4.
We talk about how they're scum and everything, and I think it kind of sets the premise of basically this is starting, a revolution. But yeah, with this revolution taking place, I'm going to let you listen to some of these snippets of the dialogue I found throughout the game, and you kind of get an understanding of why it just feels so impactful being a part of the miner group and seeing how they're getting treated.
Help! Help! Get me out of here. There's a key card on the desk. I think the guards forgot about me. Let me out before they come back.
if you can stay alive until we fight our way back up, we'll find you.
Help! Help! Stop right there!
Tell Eos we tried, but Sniper on Crusher.
The Mercs didn't have to go after the Red Faction base. That was Colonel Masako's idea. Payback for all the trouble the miners caused. She led the assault. I overheard her radioing the Merc base, reporting complete success.
Ambush! Glad you can make... Hey, buddy. You awake over there? You were a sight when they brought you in. All blood and puke. The medics worked you over and cleaned you up. Don't know why they bothered. They're just gonna kill us all anyway. Something big is happening. Lots of mercs running around, moving stuff.
So from those little snippets, you can kind of get an idea of just how much the security guards and most of the people from the Ultor Corporation just could not stand the miners. They just treated them terrible, locked them up, beat them, and kind of just treated them like scum. And in some of the snippets, you can kind of see how they're basically giving everything they got to revolt back. But I'm going to kind of turn this on the flip side, and let's look at some of the Ultor dialogue that we get in this game. It's pretty interesting.
Bucks ahead. I'm gonna shoot every miner I see.
Get the miners. It's the mercs I'm worried about. They give me the creeps.
Try it, miner. Who's down there? Throw down your weapons and come out. Hey. Party time! Don't do it! Drop your weapon! Better run, miner! Don't shoot, I'm unarmed! Need help here! Help! Help! Don't do it! Don't shoot! I'm unarmed! Mercy, please! Need help here! Come on, tough guy! I don't deserve to die!
I have plenty of...
Die, scum!
So after seeing kind of how the old tour dialogue goes about, it's kind of cool, like, really, all of the lines that are written for these NPCs and what they say. I mean, you can kind of see by the snippets a lot of different emotions that come from the NPCs. Probably the biggest one you get from most of the enemies is they try to provoke you, like calling you scum and a few other things, and it kind of makes you really just want to get into it and just start blasting them. But at other times, it's really cool. Like, you'll see it in a few of the snippets, especially like some of the guards that like rush in. They'll rush in like screaming something at you, saying like party time, and then when you blast them, they kind of have like a sense of humanity and fear, and they kind of run off like screaming for help. So I think that's pretty cool. Like, you don't really see that in, I feel like, a lot of early 2000 games, and it kind of adds a sense of emotion to the enemy side. I'd say probably one of the funniest things in the game that's kind of unexpected the first time you play it is just the sheer dialogue screams are some of the best screams I've heard in games in a very long time. All right, with that being said, I think probably the biggest factor and probably the number one reason I come back to this game over and over throughout the course of the years is the music in this game is just astounding, in my opinion. I think it hits like every aspect of a game soundtrack to what it should be. And not only that, the music in this game just evokes you just like the thrill of like just flying through a level, wanting to blast all the enemies, but then also every level in the game, or really I should say every area of the game, has music tailored to that specific area, and it just fits it really well. And to be honest, this type of music is pretty impressive coming from so early on, in my opinion. I feel like a lot of thought went into the music that's going to go for these levels. And with that, let me show you some of this amazing music here. Man, oh man, let me tell you, that music just hits me in the feels every time I hear it. Get all kinds of nostalgia. But that's just a little bit of snippets of the music from the game. When you play the whole game, there's a wide variety of music just like that that's pretty epic. So, kind of what correlates to the music that we just listened to is, let's kind of get into the level design and how the levels and the music really work together. So kind of one of the examples that you can see here is when we get to this battle section and you're starting to fight the enemies, you can kind of see how the music like kicks in and kind of gives that feel where you really just want to start getting into it and just start blasting the enemies. It's just got a really good feel to it, how the
Code
music
red
kind of
alert.
adopts this lobby
Disturbance
level.
in docking bay 2. Security response required. Code yellow alert. Intruder in minor registration. Security response.
But then also kind of to flip it though is when you get to this section in the game and you're down in the mines and it's real like kind of dark and just big and you're by yourself, the music that kicks in here really kind of has this kind of horror element, kind of like you're on your own type of vibe, and it really kind of sets the setting that you're just stuck in these mines trying to find your way out. But then the game can have some really intense moments. Like, probably one of the most iconic moments for me is when it feels like you're getting ahead and you've been battling enemies left and right. You get to this point where you're like, all right, what's going to happen next? Then it's like, you see the sign on the wall and it's like, submarine. Am I going to get to drive a submarine? And then it just gets kind of crazy by then. And
Please,
honestly, for an
leave me
early
alone.
2000s game, seeing this was like just blew my mind when I was a teenager that you get to drive the submarine. Then also going through this underwater portion of the game and the music that just sets the tone. It's just good.
Go away. Leave me alone.
Altor has an underwater lab somewhere down there. If you can get inside, I've got a job for you.
You should see the research center in the cavern ahead.
Parker, I want you to grab someone. I need you to go into admin and kidnap Griffin, Ultra's deputy administrator. I think Griffin knows all about the plague. Once we have him, we can wring some answers out of him.
Get me! Oh!
But then the game switches so well, in my opinion, that like as soon as after you have this underwater battle, it puts you right into this stealthy mode, which was totally unexpected when playing the game for the first time. And you kind of have to go like undercover really, and you holster your weapon, and the level just kind of gives this music vibe where, all right, I got to be stealthy and I got to make it to this checkpoint.
Parker, over here. Got a monkey suit for you, Parker. Put it on and keep it on. Give me your weapons. They're too bulky to carry beneath the suit. Take the silenced pistol. Keep it holstered under your suit. Use it only when you absolutely have to.
And don't get too close to anyone. Watch out for cameras. If you get too close, the tech monitoring might recognize you. And if you have to kill someone, hide the body.
Remember, Parker, we want Griffin alive. Miners are dying of the plague down here. If Griffin knows anything about it, we have to get it out of him.
So with showing off that small segment of those levels and the music, you kind of get the idea of how this miner is going through the story and being a part of this rebellion. The levels really capture your progression of what this miner is going through. So you start off in the mines, you kind of get to see what all the miners are dealing with, the circumstances they're in. And then kind of like as the rebellion progresses further, you get to see how the levels kind of change, and you get to see that I'm making it up to the security guard aspects, the barracks that are there. You get to take on the security guards, push them back, and then you kind of get to make your way to the Ultor Corporation offices, and then that's where you kind of do a little bit of stealth there. But then the game just kind of progresses more, and you kind of get the sense of, wow, I really am making some progress in taking down this Ultor Corporation and, you know, helping my other miners. And it gets kind of crazy where, like, the story progresses, but then also the levels kind of give, like, a progression feel of, like, even at one point you're going into space, you're taking out the missile defenses so you guys can come and get rescued from the Earth force defense. And each level kind of gives you this feedback of, I'm really making progress, and you even get to the point where the levels just kind of like flow together really well and almost don't even feel like levels. It just feels like one whole big story that you're getting from this game. I think also too, what really makes the level design of this game feel like, you know, somebody put thought into it was it's not just a linear path the whole entire time. Like, you can actually find little secret ways to get around the level or make your own ways, but kind of just show a few examples here of some of these secret side ways that you can take.
This is the feeding chute, Parker. Something is hungry. Come, Parker. I am waiting for you.
Why bother? No one's gonna come this way. I don't know. Something spooked Kapek the way he flew through the main gate.
So I think kind of the next thing to introduce is probably one of the coolest aspects of this game, especially like just it blew my mind as a teenager that the game, for one, had one of these vehicles, but had just a variety of vehicles. Was, as you can see here, right off the bat, like probably not even 5 minutes into the game, you get to run basically this mining operating equipment. And what's great about this is like you kind of like get the feel of like, oh wow, everything really is destructible in this game. I mean, like just sheer amount of destruction that this causes right off the bat, it's just crazy. But not only that, like you get to use it for a pretty good fair amount. Like they don't really limit it to just a really small area. You can kind of like destroy your heart's content with this thing. So that was really cool.
Every injustice and strike back. The Red Faction will lead you to freedom.
But then to move on to one of the other vehicles that at this point, like in the game, like when it came up and you're like, oh wow, I really get to drive this, was one of the small gunner airships. This thing is just so fun. Like anytime you hop into one of these, like when you come back to the game, it just is an absolute blast. The sounds that the Gatling gun makes, and just all around fun vehicle. Then later on in the game, one of the things that I did not think was going to happen was when you get to drive one of the earliest vehicles you see in the game is you get to pretty much drive a SWAT tank. And yeah, it kind of operates a little bit janky, but you know, what do you kind of expect from an early 2000 game? But at the time, like hopping in this tank and just almost having a whole entire like 10 minutes of just destroying enemies was just one of the best feelings you could get in the game, honestly.
The mercs are coming out hard. My squads are pinned down all over the complex. Most of the miners outside our base are dead or hiding.
You done it!
Don't stop for anything, Parker. You don't have much time left. The Merc commander, Masako, is sending out a heavy weapon squad to stop you.
Please hurry. Our outlying guard posts are reporting skirmishes with Merc squads. If the EVF doesn't get here soon, there's gonna be nothing left.
Got you, miner. Death to my...
Now, with getting the vehicles out of the way, probably the reason why this game is the most remembered out of a lot of gamers is the destruction in this game is mind-blowing, honestly. Even in today's standard, like, I mean, come on, like, you play Battlefield 2042 and it's like destruction is just non-existent in that game. And honestly, I feel like a lot of games just don't have destruction in them with what we used to have back in the early games. Like, I mean, this game came out in 2001 and has still some of the best destruction I've seen in a game, or even a game that allows you to have the freedom of just destroy whatever the hell you feel like, to be honest. And I think that's why a lot of the people just still love this game today. Besides the level design, the music, is the destruction. You can just destroy stuff for hours. I mean, even when it comes to like playing split screen or playing multiplayer, you can just destroy maps just to your heart's content. So kind of like what you can see here with the destruction mechanics in the game is like you can just kind of do whatever you feel like. I got to this point in the game where I didn't feel like doing the underwater section, and I was like, well, I think I'll just make my own steps up to this point where I shouldn't go, and I just started making my way. But I think that's what's great about the game, though, is with the destruction mechanics, you just have the freedom to just start destroying whatever you feel like. And if it doesn't work out, you can just reset and try to destroy it again.
Ambush!
So with that, I'm going to show you a few clips from just overall playing the campaign and just showing the destruction that happens during the game.
Remember the miners on the shuttle that got blown up? To get you to the space station safely, we need to take out Alto's missile defense system. The tram tunnels go to Missile Command. There's an entrance to the tunnels through this canyon. The Mercs have fortified this area. Keep moving and keep your head down. Parker, you don't know me, but my name's Hendricks and I want to help you. I'm a security technician with Altor. I have my own reasons for hating them and wanting to help you. I've been watching the riots on security monitors. You're the only miner from M4 to make it this far. Be careful, Parker. Altor's rushing forces in to block the mines and keep the rebellion from spreading.
So with all of the big aspects of the game kind of reviewed, let's kind of talk about the little details that this game has. There's a lot of little details that you probably have missed either through your first playthrough or a couple of your playthroughs. I've honestly had to play this game many a times, and sometimes I still find these little details, and I'm going to kind of show you these. They're pretty cool, honestly. So I think probably one of the biggest little details that we have is throughout the game you communicate with a man named Hendricks, and he's always kind of giving you feedback of like what to do. He's been watching you, and one of the cool things is if you happen to notice throughout most of the game, there's little cameras everywhere. It's kind of cool that the game devs actually thought about, hey, we need to add these cameras in of how Hendricks has been watching us the entire game. So I think that's kind of a cool little detail that you can see.
The escaping miners came this way too. The elevators up ahead were destroyed in the fighting. You'll have to climb up.
Another cool thing is, I didn't realize this honestly until I was making this video, because I guess I just never stopped and took the time to just kind of chill out. there's actually weapon animations in this game, and they're actually really cool. I'm going to show you a few of these. And one little detail that I feel like the devs didn't even need to do it, but I think it's kind of funny that it's just even in the game, is when you're going through the lobby of the Ultor Corporation and you're kind of being stealthy, did you ever notice the little kind of carpet cleaners that just go around? I always thought that was kind of funny.
Remember, Parker, we want Griffin alive. Miners are dying of the plague down here. If Griffin knows anything about it, we have to get it out of him.
Probably one of the little details that I'm sure probably everybody's run into through the playthrough, because probably most people don't kill civilian NPCs, is right when you're on this segment of the game and you're going through the cutscene where you're basically trying to blow this base up, Merc's base. If you let this civilian walk by, he will abort the missiles, and you get this message, which I think that's pretty cool, honestly. They didn't even have to do that.
Missile launch sequence in progress. Abort missile launch. 20 seconds.
So with the story being recapped, let's kind of talk about these mini bosses and then the main bosses. So one of the first mini bosses that you deal with is basically this big armored droid, and what I really like about the setup for this droid is that as soon as you get to this big huge gate, this awesome music starts playing that in my mind I'm like, oh yeah, this has definitely got to be a mini boss or a boss. So that's pretty cool when you get to this segment of the game.
Intruder in Docking Bay 4 Maintenance Facility. Security respond.
But what's also cool though is, like, probably halfway during the game, you get to another segment where it's basically the same boss over, but like super decked out. Then you get this gigantic armored droid, and this one's pretty tough, honestly, even on medium difficulty.
personnel suppression combat. I didn't know they had any on Mars. There's a disposal pit at the lowest point of this level. Pull the bot out once the pit, then open the door to the control room.
Now, after showing you the mini bosses, I'm gonna have to say something depressing, but the main bosses in this game are absolutely ridiculous. And the reason why these bosses are absolutely ridiculous is even playing on the medium difficulty, so there's easy, medium, hard, and impossible. So I played this game on medium, and no lie, basically all of the main bosses, which really is only two. It's Kapek the Scientist, and then you have the Merc Commander, are the most aimbot bosses I think I've ever seen, to be honest with you. They are straight up like one-hit kills on you, and they are absolutely ridiculous. And I'll show you some of the hilarious footage of me just getting absolutely destroyed on medium difficulty by these bosses.
Give us the antidote for the plague and we'll let
You have no say in who lives or dies here.
Over here! Help! Guard!
You're terminated, miner! Ah! Oh! No mercy! Ah! Over here! Help! Guard!
Wait! I'm on your side!
Say your...
Leave me alone! Please, leave me alone!
Game's over, scum!
Please!
Together again, Parker. This time I shall not be so merciful.
Kapek, give us the antidote for the plague and we'll let you live.
Alas, my dear,
Leave me
you have no
alone.
say in who lives or dies here. Fools! You cannot begin to understand the forces I control.
Please, leave me alone.
You're terminated, Miner.
Please.
You win! You win!
Wait, I'm on your side.
Right! No!
Over here! Help! Guard!
Together again, Parker. This time I shall not be so merciful.
Kapek, give us the antidote for the plague and we'll let you live.
Alas, my dear, you have no say in who lives or dies.
Wait, I'm on your side. Don't Don't hurt me, please.
Together again, Parker. This time I shall not be so merciful.
Wait! Ow! On your side!
Flank him!
Don't hurt me, please.
Together again, Parker. This time I shall not be so merciful.
Please, leave me alone.
Game's over!
Please, leave me alone.
Together again, Parker. This time I shall not be so merciful.
Kapek, give us the antidote for the plague and we'll let you live.
Alas, my dear, you have no say in who lives or dies here. Fools! You cannot begin to understand the forces I control.
Maybe I'll pay a visit to your parents when I get back to Earth. There won't even be a body for them to sob over. You and the rest of the scum will be vaporized in the blast. I'll pay it. Maybe I'll pay. Maybe.
Alright, so you can see all the pain and misery I went through with these aimbot bosses. But, you know what? The pain isn't over yet. Just when you thought, oh yeah, I finally beat this main boss at the end of the game, guess what? There's a twist. And it is the most stressful twist I think I've ever seen at the end of a game. And the only reason I say that is because this game is murder on you if you do not save all the time. And if you're like me and you make the mistake and forgot to save right before the boss or right after you killed the boss, you'll see how I reacted to this event.
Parker, don't just... Misako set the time.
Alright, doing good.
seconds until detonation.
Oh my god, I got it! Christ almighty.
It stopped counting down. Did I disarm it?
Yeah, let's go with that assumption.
Hey, the antidote works.
Yeah, it seems to. Mind getting out of my face? We've got medics delivering it to sick miners all over the complex. The plague will be history by tomorrow.
Okay, so what's the deep...
This facility is now under the command of the Earth Defense Force. Drop your weapons immediately. All armed personnel will be shot on sight.
That's the rescue force you called in, Parker. They'll clean up whatever mercs are left.
So, what now?
You're a hero, Parker. Relax, enjoy yourself. Start dating. Maybe look for a new job.
What are you gonna do?
Who knows? I won't be staying on Mars, that's for sure. Not after all this.
So that was pretty intense, right? You basically kill the main boss, and then you got the shortest time ever to not only do one code, but 2 codes to disarm this bomb. So that's a pretty intense moment. But one thing many people might not know about is there's actually kind of a cool Easter egg that if you do this, it's kind of a cool little ending, I guess. So, final thoughts on the game? I don't know about you guys, but to me, this is 10 out of 10 in my book. It might be 10 out of 10 in my nostalgia book, but that's okay, because this game is near and dear to my heart, and I think it's just absolutely a blast, and I think everybody should play it at least once. And I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and who knows, maybe in the future I might do Red Faction 2.